A recent revelation from Elon Musk and 50 Cent has shocked the whole industry. Trembling. Here's the twist. Diddy is not in charge. The distraction is him. You've been looking at the incorrect map if you've been staring at him as if he's the ultimate goal. Because it's more than just talk this time. 50 doesn't sit on what Elon does. Years of private direct messages from the Twitter period, together with data and receipts, are now X. The kind of things that have the power to completely change the story in an instant. People are mapping this as a pyramid because of this. Jay-Z and Beyoncé are at the bottom. Oprah, Clive Davis, middle level, and gatekeepers. They believe that a single top-level name that is hidden in plain sight connects everything together. Additionally, it extends beyond boardrooms and studios. Influence, image, and even the pulpit are discussed for months. 50 has been alluding to that angle, so fasten your seatbelt.
That they gave me a raw deal because this industry is a monster. It's the same monster that these Me Too trying to tell you about. But they hate the monster for how it, and I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster. When I quit the show, all my friends would say, well, look, them Dave, why don't you just do Chappelle's show at another network? Yeah. And why doesn't a slave run from one plantation to another plantation? Because the master over there might be nicer. My God, man, I was trapped. You know what? Tell you the truth. I've even thought about coming back and doing another Chappelle show. Well, but if I
recognize this before we ascend. Beyond hip-hop, the Diddy situation is significant. I'm not writing a lengthy biography either. What you clicked for is covered by me. 50 Cent released The Reckoning, a documentary on Diddy, and presented it as though no one else in the business had the courage to speak. His argument was straightforward. The culture as a whole appears to be complicit when there is silence. He entered it as a result. This is where things start to turn darker. One of the most prevalent allegations is that Diddy supposedly had hundreds of concealed cameras in his home that captured the events of those after-hours gatherings. Commentators like Gene Deal and Jaguar Wright discuss it as though it weren't merely for amusement. They present the film as insurance, a method that maintains compliance without the necessity for spoken communication. There are currently rumors that such tapes are being discreetly distributed while prominent figures are in a panic. Why then does Elon Musk alter the situation? Because Elon is the owner of X. He is at the head of a platform that contains years' worth of confidential discussions between politicians, celebrities, and influential people. Elon wasn't merely hinting when he got down with Joe Rogan. He highlighted the discrepancy between what people say in public and what they choose not to say when it counts.
It's like the Diddy thing was like an Epstein-type compromise deal, where he had, whether he was doing it himself, conceivably, people want to think that he's attached to some intelligence agency or something like that. I think he's a gangster who made $1 billion and knew how to control people by compromising them. That's what I think. Whether or not he had help, I don't know. Whether or not he shared some of that information with people so they knew they had compromising stuff on people, I don't know. But clearly he was doing it for his own jollies too. There was something sick about it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that people in the music and entertainment industry had to know that Diddy was like abusing, kids basically, and yet they still fed him kids. And like, where's the accountability?
There had to be rumors. There had to be.
They had to know.
Yeah,
they had to know.
Cat Williams is talking about it on
exactly.
Yeah, on that podcast.
But like who's feeding him the kids?
Right. Yeah. And what videos do they have of these people where they're willing to defend him and they're willing to keep quiet about all this? Like how many people were compromised?
Yeah.
The whole thing is fucking crazy.
Crazy.
It's just crazy when because the nutty conspiracy theories is like, oh, there's a bunch of pedophiles in Hollywood, and you're like, come on, that sounds too kooky. And then you see like the Nickelodeon thing and all these.
He brought up Jennifer Lopez as a test of believability rather than as part of a political argument. Where was the warning if you were so near at the time? The alarm was where? He also hinted that there was no answer. Because it raises one unpleasant question, that moment went viral on the internet. What does it signify if someone was so close and remained silent? They either knew something and kept silent, or they didn't know, which many people find hard to believe. The next question is clear if they remained silent. Why? Protection, loyalty, fear, or image? If so, who is being protected? Let's climb now. Jay-Z and Beyoncé are at level 1. Indeed, you may be asking yourself, just level 1? Simply wait.
How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing. I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through. That changes now, Sean. You have no choice. That Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter. They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly.
In an interview with Piers Morgan, Jaguar Wright made statements about Jay-Z, Diddy, and the extent of their relationships that she shouldn't have. After then, people began to claim that the episode was quickly removed, erased, hidden, and difficult to locate. She also brought up a long-standing query. How is it possible for Jay-Z to sit with Gayle King on CBS without being questioned about certain persistent rumors and connections to the industry? She used strong language, referring to Diddy and Jay-Z as monsters and claiming that their influence has been destroying the business for decades. Next is the Aaliyah theory, which never goes away. Jaguar went farther than most by asserting that Jay-Z was involved in getting Aaliyah on that aircraft, portraying it as personal and connected to who benefited later. Although none of this has been verified, it keeps coming up because Jay-Z has never addressed it. Furthermore, quiet doesn't read neutral on the internet. It appears to be a decision.
Think about this. Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane, to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who was a victim of Sean Carter. Yeah. Mary J. Blige, who was a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened, and yet they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know what did.
Then there was another aspect that caused many to scoff at everything. One name immediately sparked controversy when Diddy was indicted and lawsuits began to pile up. Jay-Z's personal attorney is Alex Spiro. He reportedly began to show up in the Diddy legal sphere. And the obvious question, why is Jay-Z's lawyer suddenly showing up here, comes up.
That's suing Tony Busby. Spiro is a partner, and Alex Spiro is Jay-Z's personal lawyer.
Oh, so it's probably Jay-Z then that's doing the suing.
Of course they've used Kevin's name, but it ain't Kevin. Why is Alex Spiro popping up everywhere?
What do you think is going on in Hollywood right now? What are you hearing? Because I'm hearing
mass panic. Mass panic.
So because no one's talking publicly.
No, they can't. That's why they came up with the story. Well, you know, there's a party inside the Diddy party, and I went to the first party, but I left early. I never made it to Diddy After Dark. There were public relations teams right after Diddy got arrested running around telling everyone to say that.
Of course.
The question is this. If all you went to was the first party and you didn't know anything about the After Dark, why would you say, I left early? Why wouldn't you just say you left when the party ended?
Yeah, exactly.
Because how would you know that there was another party if you weren't informed?
Exactly.
If you went to the Diddy party and nothing happened and it was the first party, your speech wouldn't be, oh, well, I only went to the first party. Right. I didn't go to the after party. You wouldn't say that because you wouldn't have known about it. You would say, I don't know what anybody's talking about. I went to Diddy's party, it was a white party, it was dancing, it was wild, but at the end, we all went home.
Right.
That's not what y'all are saying.
Nope.
You're saying, I didn't go to the second party. I only went to the first. The only thing you're proving is that you're hiding being there
Yeah.
because you wouldn't have known about it.
The theory is straightforward. Manage the story before more names are brought to light, because many influential people could fall with Diddy if he ever speaks. And for that reason, Jay-Z's ascent continues to be a topic of discussion. It is impossible to discuss that time period without Big L. Negotiations were allegedly progressing for Big L and his associates, and Big L helped open doors early and put Jay in touch with Dame Dash. Then, a few days after those discussions began, Big L was assassinated in a Harlem drive-by. Jaguar has promoted the theory that Big L's death was the first in a series of enigmatic hens that appear to clear the path for some individuals, even if the matter is still unresolved. Is it a coincidence? Perhaps. However, people claim that the pattern becomes unpleasant once they begin aligning timeframes. At stage 2, the focus shifts from fame to leverage. Clive Davis with Oprah Winfrey. Even if the rumors were already making the rounds, Oprah's detractors point to her closeness to Harvey Weinstein, pictures, events, and public backing. And that's where the argument originates. She didn't force a spotlight early, even if someone with that platform could have. Silence is interpreted as protection in this setting. The issue surrounding the South African school she supported is another. Despite early accusations, public outcry, terminations, and comments, detractors continue to contend that some aspects of the narrative never entirely came together. Because of this, it continues to be brought up in discussions about supervision, influence, and what influential people failed to notice. People begin characterizing Oprah as silent power, the kind that doesn't require viral events, because one call can determine who gets booked, who gets buried, and who gets labeled tough. This is especially true when you include resurfacing images and rumors. Clive Davis. Now, Clive is a legend. Giants' careers were begun by Arista Records, which spent decades at the top. People don't treat him like background noise because of this. For years, Suge Knight has maintained that Clive and Diddy were more than simply mentors and protégés, and that Clive claimed their relationship went beyond business. There is no publicly shown evidence, only a claim that is frequently repeated since it supports the larger story. Diddy wasn't the only one to rise. Additionally, when reporters attempted to question Clive about Diddy, they cited instances in which he appeared uneasy and declined to respond. It's not proof, but it turns into another video that the internet plays repeatedly.
Favorite memory working with Diddy?
You know, personally, I've got to tell you, he really is a major star in this film tonight. He's a spokesman all the way through. I met him before I ever knew of him. I met him when he was 21 years old. And when we met, you know, he played me Craig Mack Flavor in Your Ear. He played me 3 cuts from the forthcoming Notorious B.I.G. album. And we talked for hours and hours about music, and I poured into his dream. And I financed Beth Boyron. And we had an incredible run, an incredible period.
Another subject that folks couldn't let go of was the Whitney Houston angle. Her last days, the persons in her immediate vicinity, the internal tensions, and whether or not the clean version explains all are all topics of public discussion. This suspicion has been stoked by family remarks throughout the years, and the internet leverages it to pose a direct query. How is it possible for Clive to be surrounded by serious rumors for decades without facing any repercussions? The fall guy notion originates from this. Many people think Diddy is taking the fire, while the true gatekeepers, who operate where headlines can't reach, remain safe. Okay, so we've reached the summit of the pyramid, and the name that most shocks folks is this one. Jake Jakes, Bishop TD. Yes, a spiritual leader and pastor, but 50 Cent has been bringing up that name for months. The theory is straightforward. This isn't a celebrity issue if influence reaches the pulpit. It is an ecology. According to the way it is presented, Diddy wanted respectability, validity, and a trustworthy person to stand close to him and make him appear clean by association. and according to some, TD Jakes fits in there. People also bring up the use of TD Jakes in the Rollout documentary, clips positioned at particular times, such as a purposeful signal. Viewers witness TD Jake abruptly emerge on television discussing love rampaging energy during a clip where Little Rod talks about waking up hurting after being near Diddy's party circle. And many people think that wasn't a coincidence. They think 50 was sending a message. Cat Williams is then drawn back into it. He predicted that everything would be revealed in 2024, regardless of one's identity, and it was handled like a forecast on the internet.
As Cat Williams calls out Bishop TD Jakes, and watches TD Jakes and Gino Jennings' response.
I came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black dude? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed.
Additionally, TD Jake's reaction to being questioned about the Diddy accusations caused the situation to spiral out of control. He did not make a categorical denial. "Keep it moving," he said. He then included something that was mistaken for a cell phone. He could turn from his sins even if it were true. The ability to atone for sins. He went on to say that he didn't even need to feel regret about this. It detonated because of this. Because it didn't sound innocent to the general audience. It had a deflection-like sound. It was filled with petrol by Jaguar Wright. According to her, Bishop Jake's presence in Diddy's social circle only suggests two things: access or money. She described the settings as leverage zones and asserted that audio and video were in use. Strong individuals who were caught on camera doing things they never wanted to be associated with.
Jakes was at a Diddy party. There could only be two reasons: money or sex. That's all that happens at Diddy parties: money and sex.
Cassie has turned over substantial amounts of evidence to the feds. I'm told that after Cassie had a long conversation with Blank, I have to protect this person. They're going through a lot right now. And her lawyers, she finally was convinced to give up the videotapes and audio recordings that contain.
It remains to be seen if any of that holds up. However, the fear isn't the rumor once the public believes receipts exist. It's the potential for video. Jaguar went on to claim that several guys have come forward with tales that, in their opinion, link Jake to that society. Claims, purported accounts, and insiders claiming that legal actions are taking place behind the scenes are the only evidence made public. And it continues to spread because it follows the same pattern that people have been yelling about all along. Until it can no longer, power defends itself. Gene Deal then provided his perspective. He wondered why a Christian leader would ever be close to gatherings that people characterize as filthy. It's difficult to express that presence unless you're either supporting or engaging with the surroundings, he said. Additionally, he implied that tapes he's heard might come to light, in which case the discussion would cease to be conjecture.
Diddy and TD Jakes.
Man, what I think about it is this, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You have to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin. Drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he there to lay some hands on somebody. Maybe he there to save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt, so I'm just like, it's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere.
So why do you think he was going to these parties?
I think that he's going to the Diddy parties, bruh. If he's going, well, we know he's going to the Diddy parties, and I know that it's I know what usually happens at the Diddy party, or when we told this happened at the Diddy party. Maybe he need to see it for himself, man. Maybe he need to go there and really be involved in some things that could help save some individuals while they go into those parties.
And it's the actual danger that currently looms over everything, not arguments, views, or evidence. Expand the lens now, because this is not limited to a single industry. Elon Musk and Joe Rogan were discussing more than just celebrity news when they sat together. They were discussing power networks. The reasons behind the movement of high-level names. Elon's framing wasn't standard procedure. It was terror, fear of being discovered, and the consequences of opening the incorrect doors. Reid Hoffman was mentioned by Rogan, who inquired as to whether he appeared uneasy. Elon responded with a single word: indeed. They then contrasted the construction with a compromise model in the Epstein style. The notion that you don't need to win fights if you can get someone to compromise. They are under your power. That is the center of the whole pyramid. Not control, not talent, not fame. And many things start to make sense when you look at it that way. Why certain names remain protected no matter how loud the outcry gets. Why some people never speak, and why some stories disappear. Although Dave Chappelle expressed it differently, the meaning was the same. He has described the industry as a trap, control, not simply contracts. Additionally, he likened it to running from one plantation to another when people questioned why he didn't simply move his program somewhere else. Same chains, different master. What does it say about everyone attempting to thrive inside the machine if a successful person feels confined? This is not the end of the narrative. There will be more names brought to light. There will be more footage rumors. Suddenly, more untouchables will appear touchable. The actual question is as follows. Is TD Jake truly at the top of this pyramid, in your opinion? Or is he merely another layer, concealing the person seated above him? Leave a comment with your ideas. If you thought this was crazy, the following video delves more into the names that many believe will come next. Naomi Campbell, Ashton Kutcher, and Meek Mill. The internet believes that the walls are closing in as the list continues to expand. As it develops, we'll be here at every turn. I'll see you at the next one.